Hi guys, today I wanted to talk to you about how we are managing to build our dream home at the ages of 26 and 29. So I just want to hop right into this, and I'm going to start off with some history of how we are where we are today. So about 5 years ago, coming April, we bought our very first home at the ages of 21 and 24. First off, we were very young when we bought our first home, and the only reason why we were able to do that was because one, Kyle had 3 jobs at the time, and he was making fairly good money, but he worked his butt off for it. We also saved every single penny we could. You know, we wouldn't be going out, we wouldn't be spending extra money on anything other than what was to be put in the house. Certain things like, you know, we needed dishes and cutlery and stuff like that. And a lot of it was Christmas gifts that we would get and stuff like that. So it took, I want to say, about a year and a half for us to save the amount of money that we needed for a down payment on a house. We had Michaela. We knew we didn't want to rent because my parents had always taught me that with a mortgage, you're putting the money into your own home and not someone else's mortgage. So that's kind of what we did. Was we both stayed with our parents. Before we lived here, Kyle and I did not live together. Kyle lived at his house. Michaela and I lived with my parents. We both saved our money as much as we could, and I believe we ended up with $18,000 after roughly a year. It took us a very long time to find this house. We had a lot of criteria because of Michaela. We had to make sure the roof was, you know, good and that type of thing. So it took us a very long time to find this house and decide how much we should spend on a house. Obviously, you know, the market can be crazy and you can find not very good houses for a lot of money, and a very good house might cost you a lot more. So we were looking in an area where the houses were a lot of money for what you got, and we simply decided that we couldn't do that. It would be about an hour away from my parents and Kyle's dad, and we just knew we weren't going to spend money on something that wasn't structurally sound for Michaela. So then we ended up finding a house in the same area as our parents, and because of where it is, it's lower cost. As some of you know, being a PSW, you don't make very much money, and with me, I didn't have an income, so we would have to find a house that would be within our budget. The first bank we went to, they basically told us that we were able to get $110,000 for a house but needed a cosigner, and then the second bank that we went to told us that we could get $175,000 with no cosigner. So obviously we went with them. We were looking roughly about $150,000 for a house. We found one, you know, about 20 minutes away that was close. We had offered on it, they had accepted our offer, and we did a home inspection and we found out that the foundation was leaking. So we walked away from it. When it came around to this house, we knew this house was a lot more money because we didn't want to max out our mortgage amount. However, we ended up doing that because this house was worth it. It was structurally sound, it was bigger, it was everything that we wanted in a house. So that's just a little backstory on how we got to where we are now. So if you don't know, our plans are to sell this house and build our dream home. And the way we are going to do that is, one, the market is very high right now. So we are selling our house $100,000 more than what we paid 5 years ago. Right there off the bat, we have $100,000 cash. That is huge in being able to build your own home. Two, we are having my dad help build it, so we are not getting a contractor, which would probably cost $150,000 by itself. to build a home. So with us, we have a lesser cost because we will be paying my father, just not $150,000. So that's the second reason we would be able to do it. The third reason, we are staying in this area, which the land cost is definitely a lot cheaper than in some areas. And four, I basically spent many hours figuring out exactly what my house would look like, exactly the plans of everything, exactly how much it would cost. Took out things that I didn't really necessarily need. Took out, say, fancy fixtures, like light fixtures. Say we, would spend $300 on a light fixture. We go to a thrift store and put in just a junky light fixture. Every little detail adds up when you're building a home, and the biggest things are obviously the land cost and the foundation and the actual base of the house. All the other little things are definitely smaller costs, however, they do add up. So I kind of wanted to show you what I did to get to this point of knowing that we could afford our home that we so badly wanted. And this is going to look a little crazy. I started about a year ago designing my own home, and I came up with the layout, exactly what I want my home to look like. I literally spent 16-hour days looking up products on like Home Depot's website. I even had the website crash a few times on me because I would look up every single thing. So when I priced out my house, I would look at things, everything down to the last nail, or if you're doing baseboard and you need the DAP to cover the nail hole, every single little detail. And luckily, because I grew up with a father that did construction, I learned a lot, so I knew how to build a house from the ground up. There was definitely a lot of things that I needed to learn and ask him. I would call him, every 10 minutes asking, okay, well, what step comes next? Because you need to know every last detail. So I did what my very first step was to design my house, and I'll just kind of show you what it looked like when I first started. And it's very messy because there was a lot to figure out. And this isn't even the design that I basically ended up with. So this is what my first page looked like when I designed a house, and I literally just started drawing. I knew exactly what I didn't like in this house and what I loved about this house, and I incorporated those things into my new design. Certain things, like in this house, it's not an open concept. I can't see Damien from the kitchen. I can't see Damien when he's outside if I'm inside. Certain things like that was very important to me, that in my new house, when I'm, doing the dishes, I can see Damien playing. So I based it off a lot of having kids and having kids in the future. So that is how my design came about. There was other things, like with Michaela, she would have to have a specific bathroom for herself, but would also work as a main bathroom to the house, because we would have an ensuite. However, we wouldn't have our guests using our ensuite bathroom. So now I need to come up with a bathroom that would work for Michaela as well as our guests. So her bathroom would have to be right beside her bedroom, so that she would have a doorway going through her bedroom to the bathroom. Things like that is all stuff that I had to write down and make sure that I incorporated into my design. So once I had my design complete, or I thought was complete, I basically started, okay, what is the first step? Well, obviously the first step would be to sell this house and buy a piece of property. Okay, well, what's involved with buying a piece of property? you have levies to pay, you have a survey to do now of the property, you have to get hydro on your piece of property, you have to clear the area if it's treed, you have to level the lot, you have to dig a hole for your foundation, and then work up from there. So that's just a little idea of, I literally went step by step of how to build a house. And like I said, I had to call my dad every 10 minutes to figure out what was the next step, because I didn't know everything. Yes, I knew, you know, how to frame a wall and put drywall up and, you know, some plumbing and electrical stuff, but when you're talking about from the literally ground up, there are a lot of steps involved. So that is pretty much how we did it. The other main thing I wanted to mention was that getting a building loan with a bank is a lot more difficult than getting a loan from a private lender. However, with a bank, it is a lot less interest, whereas with a private lender, you're paying more interest. So I wanted to say that first because, one, we aren't a high income family. We are on one income, and to get a building loan on one income is pretty much next to impossible unless you find the loopholes. So with us, we realized that obviously we couldn't go with a bank, but with a building loan, we would pay a little bit more in interest, but get what we want out of it in the end. So that was worth it for us. So that is what we would be doing, is going with a building loan and not a bank. When you are all said and done building your house, then you can go to the bank and ask for a mortgage on the house. And I also wanted to mention, because I'm sure I'm going to get questions about it, how do we have, you know, 2 brand new vehicles, a trailer, a house, going to be building a house, kids, all of that. I wanted to mention that because of the amount of money that we are going to make off of this house, the $100,000 cash, we then get to pay off our trailer, which is like $126 a month. We pay that off completely because that's roughly about $15,000 we have left on it, and then we owe, I believe, $35,000 on our truck, so we would pay that off completely. So that is pretty much the only way we would be able to do it. Also, my van has been free and clear since pretty much the day I got it, because it was funded by charities for Michaela. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, tell you about how we're doing this, how we're so young, because usually when you think about building your dream home, obviously you're older and sometimes usually ready to retire, you know, selling and moving out of, say, a city area. However, with us, because we already live in the country, we're definitely a lot cheaper for pricing and that type of thing. So I just wanted to kind of elaborate on that a little bit. I wasn't sure if I was going to get a ton of questions about it, but it's also something that I wanted to make a video about. So if you have any other questions about this topic, please leave them in the comments below. I'll be definitely doing more videos like this, maybe even make it a series, I'm not sure. So if there's other topics in regards to this specific topic, then please leave them in the comments below and I'll do a series or answer them in new videos. But yeah, so I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you get my videos as soon as they come out, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye guys.